can't help the music.
Yeah, you gotta have music.
My wife can't stand 80s. It's funny. You know, I'm an 80s head.
Yeah, I love it. Takes me back.
So here's another whip making thing, but you know, we kind of have some general topics. We're just going to kind of throw some in there, but I would say, you know, we're just trying to deal with more like some of the earlier stuff or things you want to think about. You know, like whip making can be a long game. I mean, it even takes you, you know, well, it should take a day to make a good whip, but it could take you 2-3 days to make a good whip. So I mean, it's long to even make one. Now, I mean, it can be a slow process to build whips and keep going. So the most important thing I would say is learning to do things right in the first place. But before you can do things right in the first place, it's good to know you're doing things for the right reasons. That's something I always talk about. Like, it's not what you do or how you do it, it's why you do it that is really more important. So I would say we're going to try to attempt, and this is something, I'm just out of the blue. Steve has no idea what's coming out, but I would say we should run on this one. Why are you making whips in the first place?
Why am I making whips in the first place?
So, I think that can affect some things. I'm not going to interrupt Steve on this, but the whole thing is, what I'm going to say is, I think a lot of people, thanks to Nick Schrader, there are thousands more whip makers in the world in Bernie than there ever were. So there's a lot of people that can now realize I'm at home and I can make money at home. Because when I was a kid, I always wanted to do that. Like, I'm like, I had a girlfriend, she's like, let's just find an envelope place. They see envelopes, you lick them all day. I'm like, oh, we look for it. I mean, people, you know, that you can now watch a video, have stuff sent you, mail it out, and you don't have to buy a building or whatever. So there's that thing where you can, I think a lot of people get into whip making, not all of them, but they're like, I could see I can now make money from it. So that's a good reason to do anything. I mean, to help you get out of your situation, it's the best thing. But I don't think that should always be the initial core for why you're making whips. If the whole initial idea is just to make money,
right?
You know that can affect your growth.
You might be disappointed. You know, I would say. But, I mean, do you mean primarily why am I making whips as in personally what reason do I have for making the whips? Or are you meaning why am I able to make the whips? What enabled me to do that?
Well, you know, I mean, why you do things changes over time, you know, as you get better or things like that. But I would say the initial impulse.
Why you wanted to do it to begin with.
Because I see there's an overwhelming popularity where they just see it's like a get quick rich scheme. Right. I can now sit down and make money. And then, you know, but, you know, they've never even seen another whip or actually cracked a whip. They've only seen a video of people cracking a whip and watch a tutorial, which kind of limits performance for a while until you can get around other stuff, which gives you something to compare it to. But
yeah, I think that, you know, personally, there might be several reasons for getting into whip making. I don't know.
Lots.
But I think what people would find out quickly is that if you don't have a passion for it, it's just about like anything else. If you're really not passionate about whips and making whips, it's probably not going to be something that you could have the patience for, to be honest, just based on strain breaks alone, you know, and blisters as well. Yeah, I mean,
sore hands.
Yes, backs,
you know,
leaning over and your eyes squinting in poor lighting to see that wristler if you're trying to braid.
Yeah, just it's you know, it isn't a get rich.
No, yeah.
Quick, you know, scheme. It's just like if you know, like I think it's easier for people to think they can get away with the leather. But if I said, "Hey, let's make a knife like Forge and Fire. Let's make $1,000 blade. All you got is iron and some wood," and you'd be like, "Well, there's no way I could make that $1,000 blade anytime soon." But I think a lot of people think, I watched, you know, I've got this video I saw, and within 2 whips, I'll be making a $600 kangaroo whip because I had a formula, you know. But there's so much to learn besides just. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Right, and you always got to, you know, what are you really, like my thing is I'd love to just be better than I am now, and I've always felt that way. I know I've got room for improvement, and I just want to be better than me. I just want to do this as good as I can. So, you know, knowing that my first whips weren't as good as my whips would initially be, I didn't feel like I could just instantly jump into a business and start selling stuff online. I made whips and played with them and, you know, sold them as used whips, or I gave one to my brother, or, you know, wasn't anything I initially, you know, I'm going to do this because it can make me money. It was just, man, I'm obsessed with whips and I want one so bad but can't afford it. I'm going to go to the trouble to learn how to make the thing so I got something to play with, you know. And that turned into, wow, I might actually be somewhat good at this. I felt like I kind of had a knack for it. So it was never, for me at least, it
The
wasn't.
initial core wasn't.
No, I wasn't.
Hey, I saw these stuff for this much, and I saw it's only this much for materials. Quick, let's make money. I don't think most of you guys or any. I'm not really saying that's a common thing, but I'm saying once you see how to make one, you do it. I think that initial thought will crush your mind. Wow, these guys must be making big bucks, and all I need is a logo and a video of someone cracking it, and pow, But
Yeah, if you could see just the trouble I went through on those first couple of nylon, or they were vinyl. I was cutting my strands with scissors out of big long sheets of marine vinyl, and trying to figure out how whips were made. But it was sad, the amount of work I put into that first whip. If whip makers had to make whips like that, there wouldn't be any whip makers. Nobody would do it. If it took you that long to make one whip, they would have gone extinct before whips even really caught on. It just wouldn't, because you can't do that. You're not going to make any money, which is another, discussion in and of itself. Knowing how long it takes you to do what.
yeah, we'll cover some of that. But no matter what, like anything you do that you're good at and you want to be able to do it full time, because no matter what, you kind of start as a hobby. You always start off doing it here and there. You can't just quit your job and now spend 80 hours a week being the ultimate fighter. So
Right.
so eventually, though, to build it up, you eventually turn things into a business. The problem is it becomes a job, and as much as you love it, sometimes when it really becomes a job, and I mean it's a job, we're working almost double shifts for this to keep us afloat. We're going and pushing things. It's it does change. Like I said, there's a reason for doing it's different. Your passion changes, even changes works. But I think what you said is important, that you always want to make one better as a good one. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Like, there's not just one reason why you do it. There's several reasons, and they all mature and change. And I think when it gets to be a point where it becomes too much of a job and you just see it as a job, you may be looking to quit soon, because it may not be fun after a few years of working that intense grind if you don't counterbalance and burn yourself out. So, but I think initial reasons are important. You guys, if this is you and you just saw Nick's video, Bernie's video, and you just made 2-3 whips and you think, I think I can pull it off. Well, you might. That's good. Don't stop. All I'm saying is it's not going to happen fast. It's going to take a lot of work and time, research, development. Even if someone gave you every link imaginable on YouTube and you watched everything, it still doesn't mean you can make it at a craftsman level, because I can give you a whole tutorial online on how to do a ultimate fight, and now let's just put you in the ring, right? Mm-hmm. You haven't touched leather yet. You haven't stress rated, but I mean, it takes a while. Everything's just a technique that does need time, and you do get better over time, but you also got to try your methods. You got to pay attention when you're doing. I mean, it's not a quick fix. So you have time to think about it and get going and build clientele. And hopefully, when you do things right the first time. So I hope your reasons, they can be anything, but they don't need. It could be money for your first initial thought. All I'm saying is, if your first thing is a quick fix, you'll find out soon it isn't. And maybe you'll start finding the joy and passion and love cracking it. But there's no way I think you could ever succeed if from beginning to end you have one thought: I'm just seeing the dollar bill, Joe. If that's it, it'll burn you out. Everything will, because you can find a way to make more money doing probably
less work. somehow
hustling, you name it, whatever you got.
It's a weird thing, and then you'll find that, since every single material is your hides are all different, they're never the same.
No consistency. There's some consistency, but natural products always variation.
Whips are finicky, man, and if they're not braided consistently, they're not as good as they might be. And so, I'll find that it could be something as simple as my mood will affect what I come up with.
Don't braid angry.
Now, I'm not saying it would be so bad that the customer would return the whip, but it's something that, as a maker, I look at and I go, for whatever reason, this whip did not turn out as nice as this whip. I remember just a while back I posted a whip, and I mentioned that it was going to somebody, and that I had really liked this whip. I liked the way it came out. And it was one of those whips that I just really kind of wanted to keep, but I couldn't. And one of the comments on the post was, why don't you just make another one exactly like it? and as great as that would be, there are so many things that differ.
It's all similar,
Yeah,
but
I mean, your average eye might not notice the difference between that.
or even tell from cracking it, it's not much. But
And
whatever it is, it feels right to him. Like he's like, that's the way I like it to feel.
I just liked it. It just felt nice and consistent and well braided. Not that you couldn't say the same thing about any of my other.
Or
whips,
the other
but-
whips are now just 10 rungs lower.
But
It's
to
not
do
like
that
it's-
exact same thing, I'd have to have a photo of what did I exactly stop the taper of that at, and this at, and that at, because I remember what I strive for, I remember what I try for, and it just seemed like on that one I nailed it. But
Sometimes it's just coming
you
together.
know, they're all going to be different. You can't, and that's frustrating from someone's point of view who's just in this for money, and you want to make a great whip every time. You might make 50 whips and then make
You
one
want a factory.
51.
Yeah, you want to be able to have a factory
And
where you can just carve
number
it, cut
51
it, cookie cut it. And,
Turned out to be garbage, or turned out in your mind not to measure up to your standards, and that's very frustrating. Or you're braiding long, and everything went good when you stretched your strands and you prepped your strands and everything was fine, and now you're braiding halfway down this whip, and just before you go to drop strands because you got a short one coming up, you snap one of the other ones on that side. That's frustrating.
you either got to undo it and put a new strand, or you got to learn to just. Hopefully, you can just drop both, but it ain't your normal drop. You just have to have a. No one will notice it, but a mod drop.
At any rate, it can be very, very annoying.
And when you think of, it's like I said, it's what you feel goes into it. I mean, say like, hey, you're about to run the longest, you're about to be in the Olympics for the sprint, but really quick, we're going to call you up and let you know your mother just died, and you just found out your wife had an affair, and the kid's not yours, and hey, go out there and be in the Olympics. It's like you're emotionally like flooded and crazy. Now you think you'll be able to, you've held in that energy. So it's like, not that we're raging crazy madmen, but I'm just saying, emotions do play factors. It'll drain you. You have less energy that day. You overwork yourself, things happen. So, you got to base yourself.
So, yeah, not to say that, the work isn't consistent, but nobody's perfect. But
it affects, it's an extension. Anything you do as an art is an extension of what you do.
Right. And if you're passionate about those kind of things and you're passionate about creating a good whip, then you're going to notice when you, in your own mind, in one way or another, fail to measure up. And those things, man,